From Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded live, 20 April 2014. Episode 100. Happy Centennial. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're 100 years old today.
We are.
I'm your venerable host and quite aged host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with
Robert Flamingo.
and Bobby Flamingo, Robert Garza.
You know, I gotta honestly admit, for being 100 years,
I look pretty
you
darn
look
good.
pretty
for
darn good
years
for being
old.
100.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we are at the 100th episode.
Yeah, it just seems
Wow.
like just yesterday when we started.
I know, it really does.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be throwing in little clips from
Oh.
earliest episodes. Of
Vintage.
Yes.
Oh, how
Show you
nice.
how far we've come. This is amazing. Yeah, 100 episodes. There's a lot there's a lot of commotion going on with the dog. We
Yeah.
got dogs wrestling over there. There's a lot that goes into putting together a studio that can do this kind of stuff, and we've talked about it before, and I've shown you different ideas as far as how you can do your own podcast. It's really not difficult if you have a computer and a webcam and a headset microphone. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
You can do it. And in fact, you'll see a clip from one of the episodes that literally we did it with just the laptop, and so had the regular camera on it, it built in, and the microphone that's built in, and it worked fine. I mean, it wasn't the highest of quality, but if you're wanting to get started, meager beginnings.
Yeah.
But we've, as you'll see in some of the clips that we show, we've come a long way, baby.
Yeah. Well, it's like a little scene in Prometheus. Big things have small beginnings.
That's right. Absolutely.
So it's just if you're actually interested in doing a podcast or starting a podcast, I don't see anybody who's more qualified than getting with Rob and getting in contact with them. I know there's a lot of people that do all kinds of like little selfie videos and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how it starts, people. I mean, that's just how it starts. So
That's right. And I tell you, there's no better way to boost your own ego than just have your own show, because it's so easy to do. You can do it virtually for free.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's hard to believe. 2 years ago, we got going a little over 2 years ago, and we've hit our 100th episode this time. We were going to do it last week, but pretty much everybody was out of pocket.
Yeah.
I was hoping that Troy was going to be able to be here with us, but he and the family are up in San Angelo at a wedding this weekend, which 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's one of his nephews who is getting married, who happens to be the son of one of the guys I used to be in a couple of bands with. He and his wife run Canon Graphics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mickey.
Yeah.
Well, his ex-wife, that's their son, that's getting married, and of course now the whole McGonigal clan is all up there.
Oh, wow.
Doing the wedding thing. So he couldn't be here for this, which is a shame. It would have really been fun. I would have liked to have had Nick here too. We could have eked it out. We've got 4 mics. We could have would have been like a tiger, but we could have done it.
I saw Nick the other day at the administration building at the high school.
Well, that's right, because he's working there now.
Yeah, for the school district, and I honestly almost didn't recognize him. He looks so different.
Yeah.
He's got a full beard, and I was, if he would have had some little like sandals on, he really would have looked like he belonged at a beach.
Beatnik. Yeah, like Maynard G. Krebs from Dobie Gillis.
Yeah, so we started talking a little bit, but it was good. He's in charge of the website for
Yeah.
the district.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of any other kind of responsibilities that they tend to tack on, with these positions.
Right.
But yeah, so I was talking to also one of the technicians there, talking tech,
Of course.
and
of course.
they were like telling me all kinds of horror stories that they're kind of encountering right now.
Really, with the network?
Yeah, servers down, Exchange not working right. Well, they actually went to the cloud now, but the backups aren't working. They're not being backed up.
That's not good.
Yeah, and I remember, and I was telling the one of the technicians, I remember in the glory days,
Yeah.
when I was there, that thing was like a rock. I mean, it was, if we lost something, no problem. Let's just go to the tape backup and
That's right.
get it. But now it's not the case anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of scary if you lose control of that. Of course, these days after that big heartbleed vulnerability that just
Yeah.
about every website
Yeah.
out there is subject to.
Yeah.
I ended up sending out an alert to the squadron that I manage the IT stuff for, to let everybody know that maybe the Air Force network stuff would be fine, but all these sites that you go to, and I give them a list of all the ones that you need to go out and change your passwords on, because they've patched it, but you need to change it because the vulnerability has been out there for years.
Right.
And of course, the conspiracy theories start coming out that well, the NSA's been taking advantage of that. And of course, they deny everything. I'm like, oh, please.
Oh, no.
I believe that. Like,
We're going to the NSA now. Okay.
yeah. Well, I'm like, I'm sure the NSA took advantage of it. If there was a vulnerability that they could get in back doors to stuff, I'm sure they took advantage of it.
Well, I was reading something on, I don't know if it was USA Today or CNN, or I don't know, it was one of those websites.
Yeah.
The guy Edward Snowden, he's
Yeah.
actually trying to talk to President Vladimir Putin now to tell him, hey, you guys need to start, watching this and watching that, because we're monitoring this and we're monitoring all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, see, now that goes beyond letting us know that the NSA is spying on us in ways that they said they weren't.
Yeah.
That goes into treason.
I think he's already
done.
He's done. I mean,
He's toast. He's toasty.
he better not get not even close.
He's persona non grata in the U.S.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see some kind of Navy SEAL op.
Yeah,
All
really.
of a sudden, he's being
Gee,
abducted.
he's been quiet lately. Wonder why.
He just miraculously ends up here in the U.S.
Disappeared. He disappeared. So, we got, this is Easter weekend.
It is.
Yesterday was Good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, tomorrow, Resurrection Sunday.
Yep.
Sure you guys got big service going on, right?
We actually, the service for tonight, they have that going on.
The midnight mass kind of
the
thing?
midnight mass thing going on.
Yeah.
But so like I said, Sandy's really busy with doing playing the godmother role right now.
Nice.
So she'll be home maybe 2 a.m. It's a long process.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
it
a
is.
long mass.
Yeah.
But like I was telling you, it's like 80 people or something like that. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's
good
very
that they're
good.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course, we have our Easter service. We don't do, like, Easter cantatas or anything like that. There are some of the little kids that are going to be doing a kind of a dance, praise dance kind of a thing tomorrow, but no big, huge production.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, which is good, because I there's just no way I'd have time to even work on something like that, put it together. It's just so challenging.
Yeah, and then we've been last week and the week before that. Like I mentioned, Sandy's uncle is not doing really well.
Yeah.
We're dealing with that. We have house guests from Virginia here,
Yeah.
so we're playing host to that. So it's been
Are they watching the show?
No.
What?
Think they're in Mexico
What?
right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they're in
Couldn't
Mexico.
get them to watch the show.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. So, then you probably haven't seen any movies of late.
I've seen a couple actually.
Really? Okay. What I have on deck, and if there's any that you want to add to this, by all means, of course, Captain America.
Yeah, I saw that one.
God's Not Dead.
Saw that.
And Transcendence.
I have not seen Transcendence.
Okay.
I know you were there yesterday. You were seeing it.
Yes.
I saw your vehicle there.
Yeah. All right. So your thoughts on Captain America, Winter Soldier,
the big captain. Why did?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I really liked it. It was cool. The action scenes were awesome because there was a lot of aerial, and that looked awesome.
It was fantastic.
Because we saw it in 3D. But the one thing that I kind of didn't like, it was a little bit more. It was more slow because it was action in the beginning, in the middle, and then at the end. But the parts where it was kind of going in, and it just kind of dragged out a little bit. My partner, the guy I went with, he actually fell asleep.
What?
Yeah. I was like,
wow.
Hey, wake up. So he found it that he liked it. It was just the parts in between were just a little soft. But overall, I really enjoyed it. The action made up for the little slow the little slow scenes. But I really liked it. It was cool to see the old lady, the girlfriend from the.
Yes.
I thought that was so cool.
Jenny Agutter.
Yeah,
I was like cheering her on.
Yeah, she came out, and then I never expected who the Winter Soldier was actually gonna be.
That caught me by surprise too. I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. The other surprise was the fact that Hydra was still there.
Well, I guess you don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No.
Oh, you are missing something.
Oh, okay.
You need to go on Hulu or whatever and catch up on it because they've been intertwining with the movies.
Oh, okay.
They intertwined with Thor and they intertwined with this. And interestingly, because last week we went to see God's Not Dead rather than see Captain America.
Yeah.
The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes on Monday night. And so we saw that. Oh, hush. So we saw that. And since they'd already had the opening weekend of Captain America, that's where they brought things together. So that episode on Monday
kind of
pulled things in. So I'm like, oh, my gosh. So I said, without having seen Captain America, now I was aware of what was going to happen. At least some pieces that I was like, okay, I know an integral piece of the movie.
Right.
So when we came to see, of course, we both watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So when we went to go see the movie, I'd see little pieces leading up, and I said, that's all about Hydra. And she was like, oh, and I'd say, remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this, that, and the other.
Oh, okay.
And so it was pretty cool. So you need to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's actually very good. And they'll have some of the biggies in. Samuel L. Jackson has shown up a couple times. And
No, yeah. So I was really, really surprised with that. Then again, when in parts of this movie, when they were making reference to other comments from the original Captain America, like if you cut one head off, another one comes out in its place. So it's just going to be a perpetual thing that's just going to continue to keep happening.
I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. The actor from Aliens and True Lies.
From Aliens.
Yeah, he was the one. Stop your grinning and drop your linen. I found him.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, he was in the 2 episodes bringing up to the whole Hydra.
Oh,
bit.
wow, cool.
Yeah, he was one of the main characters, I guess, supervising officer going through the S.H.I.E.L.D. training or whatever. So he was figuring. Of course, it's got this show is all about Agent Coulson and the group that he's with.
Wow. But
Cool.
but overall, I personally enjoyed it. He liked it, but I mean, he fell asleep through the movie. But either way, I then again, though, we had just got off of work.
So you're tired.
Well, I think he was tired. He goes in an hour before I do.
Yeah.
And, so I think it was just right temperature, nice and quiet.
To get comfy and you get a slow spot.
And then, all the popcorn we ate, I think it was just a little too much for the man. But nonetheless, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Okay. Better than the first? Same or not quite as good as the first?
I would say not quite as good as the first, but it's right there. I don't want to give it too much because I really enjoyed it. Okay. It's kind of like the Iron Man movies. Yeah. To me, the first one is always the best one. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with a really good movie for the second. Right. But all in all, yeah, I rate it still within about a 9.5.
Okay. I liked it better than the first one, which was hard to do because I really did like the first one. In contrast, the slow parts for me I actually enjoyed because it was laying some of the political intrigue and filling in some of the gaps. I thought it was great to have, spoilers, by the way, I thought it was great to have little cameos of like the British, the girl that they were kind of falling for each other. Yeah. And that whole scene, I really appreciate that. Was like, oh, that was one for the girls, I'm sure.
He was like, hey, I'm still waiting for my dance,
Yeah, I thought that was so cool. So I actually appreciate it, like I said, for the political intrigue. And, of course, I cheered when Robert Redford died. I
was actually surprised to see Gary Shandling.
Well, because he was in the Iron Man movie.
He was one of the...
he was the senator in the Iron Man movie.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
So I was like, okay, he's going to get his just desserts too, because remember he when he was pinning on the metal he goes, isn't it amazing how painful a little prick can be when he pinned him, stuck him with him. I'm like, oh, he's going to get his. And matter of fact, he noticed the pin on the guy. And he leans over, Heil Hydra.
Yeah.
All right, come here. Uh-oh. Ronan is wanting to make a guest appearance here, so let me switch cameras so you can say hi to everybody. Oh, wrong camera. Here we go. Say hi. Oh, come on. I'm right on the mic. And sure as the world, with the dog barking outside.
Yeah.
Get him going. And also right in the microphone. Make everybody go deaf. But and of course we stayed for the
you got to stay to the end,
which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So to me it was a little bit better than the first. All right, cool. So God's Not Dead. What'd you think of that?
That's one of these movies that it was good. It hit. I could relate to a lot of everything in there you could relate to. Mm-hmm. In some aspect or another. You knew, or I know someone
exactly.
just like that.
You've been in that situation.
Yeah, I've either been in a situation like that or know someone that's in a situation like that.
Right.
I honestly got to tell you though, that Dean Cain guy, he was an ass. And I
was like, how is Superman like this? I just don't get it.
That was just, but unfortunately, if you've not seen the movie, you got to see it.
Yeah. You really do. You
really got to see it. But there's little, if you really pay attention and you're if you're just, church-going person or know of, what,
right.
Believe in the Lord and stuff, there's little nits about things that are happening throughout the movie and why things happen. And that's what really I liked was like, it's when the car's not starting, and they bring another car and it's running perfect. He gets in the car.
It won't start.
It's because
that's those divine appointments.
Yeah, he had to be at a certain place at a certain time. Was kind of surprised at the end. I was really.
I was totally caught off guard by that.
I was really hoping that he was gonna make a change, and he was. He was. But when he found the Lord or started believing in the Lord, that's when the priest said it's okay. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but I did not see that ending coming.
I did not see that one at all. So that was kind of whoa. That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I kind of knew when, they showed the sign about, stop, and he was waiting, and then it started to rain, and, the priest was right there at the light, and here comes somebody and smack, I kind of knew he was going to be in an accident or some kind of incident.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to pass. That was my thing. I thought he was going to be hurt and everything, he was going to get, be okay.
I thought maybe we'd see as the song was continuing, because at the end is the big concert with Newsboys. I kind of thought there would be like this phone call or text that the girl who broke up with him would get, and then you'd see like the scenes cutting to the hospital, and she rushes in, and he's there, and it's the reconciliation, and he says, hey,
and the girl with the cancer, that was like,
yes, I was like, wow, that was awesome.
And it was just little things like that. People are just, mean like that. And it was even the scene like when the Duck Dynasty, the man in
yes.
he was pretty cool considering that she was trying to slam him.
Oh yeah.
She was like, just like, what are you talking about? I don't I kill everything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a better shot than that.
I focus, I kill it, and I eat it.
It's that simple.
It's that simple.
And of course I'm sitting there watching that scene, and I'm thinking, PETA is just like all up in arms over that. Of course, now speaking of PETA, they've got an ad going where they got little kids to wag their finger basically at the Obamas because they're having an Easter egg roll.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the big deal? It's an egg. It's an egg. It's
an egg, yeah.
It's an egg. It's not, it hasn't become anything yet. So even if I were to lose all senses and side with you on the use of animals for food and clothing, which I don't buy that, you got no complaint when it's just an egg. It's unfertilized egg.
Right.
There are people who eat fertilized ones, but that's other countries and weird stuff. But I'm like, PETA, you just need to get a life. It's just wrong.
Well, but all in all, I gave it a 10 because I really enjoyed the movie. Yeah.
There were a couple of acting spots that I thought were kind of weak.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I was like, well done. Of course, I like Kevin Sorbo. He's been in a number of series that I liked.
He came out good, but at the same time, he also came out as an.
You really didn't like him.
No. He was pretty rough. He was pretty rough. The one thing when he was there, I was looking and I was talking to Sandy about that, and I was like, could you do that? Go up in front of all the kids and everything like that, and do a presentation like that. Yeah. She was like, I don't think so. I was like, to me, I thought that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
But the more so that the instructor even gave him the opportunity to say, okay, prove your theory. Yeah. Prove it.
Yeah.
And, I liked him at the end when the kid goes, how could he have taken everything away from you when you don't believe in him?
That's right.
He just kind of like,
you can't blame somebody that you don't believe exists.
Exactly. You can't blame somebody.
See, that's why I've always felt that those who are vocally, militantly anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-religion, it's not because they're atheist, even though they claim they're atheist. Mm-hmm. I believe that they are scared to death that he exists, and so they're trying to fight any reminder, because if you're reminded of something, you kind of get a self-conviction about it. Mm-hmm. And nobody likes to feel that conviction. And it's not, the thing is, we know, if you get that conviction, if you feel convicted about something, it's not to make you feel bad. It's to make you realize, hey, I have a pathway back. There is a solution. And that's what this weekend is all about. That's what tomorrow's all about, is that because of the sacrifice made by Jesus, we have an opportunity now for redemption. All that junk that we went through in our lives, me walking away from all of it for so many years in my life and then coming back, that that door is always open. The arms are always wide open. And so this movie showed all different people, different people in different points of their life, and the challenges they were going through, acknowledging that those things they're dealing with are real.
Yeah.
Because, we don't just pretend it doesn't happen. We don't pretend cancers don't happen. We don't pretend that we're battling some other kind of religious hold on our life, or somebody oppressing us or challenging our beliefs. Those things are real and they exist, and they're not to be taken lightly. But the movie says, but God.
But God.
It was awesome.
No, it was, I really, really enjoyed it. It was, like I said, everything that happened, everything that I saw, I, at some point, could relate.
Yep. Absolutely.
So with, but like some of those people, you just really hated them, excuse the phrase, because hate is such a strong word, but man, how people can be that mean and that evil. The guy, like, well, couldn't this wait till tomorrow? When she told him she had cancer, she was like, what? Well, I'm sorry, this was an arrangement.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and so it's no longer, the deal's off.
Off.
You broke the deal. You got sick.
Yeah.
Wow. How cold is that?
Yep. And then at the end, when he was over there talking to his mom,
who was basically
like
dementia.
She had dementia, and all of a sudden, she just starts talking to him, and he's like, and then she looks over and like, who are you again?
Yeah. But she had a word for him. That was his opportunity right there.
Yeah. So, and I guess, that's why everybody, because I had been getting texts from people, from like God's Not Dead. I didn't understand why it was.
Yes, at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie. Everybody's texting God's Not Dead.
It was awesome.
It
was awesome.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good movie. Really good movie.
Awesome. All right. So I won't tell any of the story, but we went to see Transcendence last night. And I'm not a huge Johnny Depp fan. I liked him way back in the days when he was in 21 Jump Street. That's how old I am. And he was okay in the Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are entertaining.
Yeah.
But most of his other movies, not a big fan of. But the premise of this one was interesting. Now, unfortunately, Johnny Depp is about as two-dimensional a character as he ever is in a lot of his movies. In other words, he tends to deliver things pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of excitement or life in his voice. He's like Christopher Walken without the quirkiness that makes you really enjoy watching him breathe.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Christopher Walken defies description when you watch him. And he can deliver deadpan stuff and you're okay with it. But come here, Ronan. But Johnny Depp can't do that. However, having said that, the premise was remarkable. I found myself at one point in the movie leaning over to Tara and saying, this kind of reminds me of Lawnmower Man.
Oh my gosh. I did not like that movie.
I didn't either. I watched it, but I didn't care for it. But it had some elements, not the main storyline, but just certain elements of it. You're going, that's kind of been done, But what I did like, and you'll probably appreciate, and those of you watching out there who haven't seen it yet, you'll appreciate the ending is bittersweet. So it's got a nice poetry to it. You would have liked for it to be all, flowers and unicorns and lights and all this sweet stuff, but I kind of saw the very last scene happening, and at least not exactly like the way they portrayed it, but I was like, all right, that's the button on it, and that's also the potential for a sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So the very last scene, I think if they want to, if this does well,
they left it open.
There's a way for them to do a sequel. If the movie starts at the end, kind of, it's one of those where you see the end of the movie and then the person talking brings you through goes back to the beginning of the story.
Oh, okay.
It's like, and so here we are. You know, kind of those.
I get
So
you.
it was very good. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. So definitely recommend it.
Okay.
Let's see. Tech news.
The tech.
Tech news.
News.
For those who have registered as Windows developers, which really costs you nothing now. You can register with the Windows Phone Studio app website for nothing, for free. And you download an app as a result, and it kind of unlocks your phone to get developer previews of stuff. In this case, it was a preview of Windows Phone 8.1, which they could almost call it 9 because there's so many changes in it.
Wow.
There are a lot of things that, for those who are iOS fans, for those who are Android fans, bring it on parity as far as some of the feature sets. Unfortunately, most of those feature sets are things that I have no use for and, in my opinion, have created frustration for me on the platform, which angers me because I love the platform so much. But now what they've done in answering the call for those who insist on having a notification center and separate volume controls and all this other junk, what it's done, in order to do that, they've broken other things, in my opinion, things that I've come to rely on. One of the big features that I always found important that I utilized a lot is the fact that some of the social networks, primary ones that I use, were integrated into the operating system. So you had the Skype / old Windows Messenger, along with Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn all together. So you could go to this thing called the Me tile, and you could click on Post an Update, and then you could select multiple social networks. So, like for instance, when we start the show, I typically do the little kind of 15 minutes prior, 5 minutes prior. I say, "Hey, join us for the show." It was great being able to type it in one time and it blasts it to all those networks. Yeah. Not anymore.
Wow.
The way they've done it is they've broken those out because they want to be able to update. Would you make up your mind? They wanted to be able to update components of those social networks without having to update the operating system. Because before it was so baked in, they had to do an update to the operating system in order to change those things. Yeah, those features. Well, pay me now or pay me later. I didn't have any problem with waiting for those updates because the integration worked so well. But now, in order to send out that same thing, I have to send it 4 times.
I was going to ask you because I noticed that you posted something on Twitter, but I didn't see it on Facebook. And I'm like, I was going to make a comment about that, but I was going to...
And then I did. I mean, but I had to turn around and copy and paste it and paste it and paste it. So, to me, that kills the efficiency. And I'm Mr. Lean Six Sigma. So when you do something that takes efficiency away, I get very, very angry about it. Same thing with the volume control.
Yeah, I was tweeting about that. That was kind of interesting. And then actually somebody sent me a message about like, what are y'all talking about? And I responded back. I go, it's just there was an update to a mobile device, and it's not doing what my friend wants it to do. And I never heard anything anymore about that person. Yeah. But, somebody was like, what are y'all talking about? So somebody was lost during the...
Oh, yeah. Well, tweets, when we talk geek stuff, we can lose a lot of people. Just to give you an illustration, let me bring the camera up here, see if I can show it. Okay, so this phone. I've updated both my phones to the 8.1. And, of course, it's added Cortana, which is a big thing, and I love it. It does stuff that just caught me off guard that it can do. But...
Did you see... Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you see that video that I posted on Twitter about the Microsoft bus that was going around? I think it was in Los Angeles. And
an actual Microsoft bus?
Yeah, and they were actually doing a demo with the voice thing, the Cortana thing.
On the bus?
Yeah, it was a bus, and this guy Edward Graham, who does tech things for the USA Today.
Oh, okay.
Got on the bus and actually was doing it. He had his iPhone, and the gentleman from Microsoft had, of course, the Windows Phone. And he was asking Cortana, remind me to send a note to my wife for her anniversary. And then all of a sudden she came out, okay, well, this and this.
Yeah.
So then the other guy was doing with the iPhone, and I have to honestly admit that it was pretty sweet, because he also said, they also did, okay, find me a restaurant.
Yeah.
I actually sent it, and I think it was on Twitter.
I'll have to look at it. Well,
yeah, you have to take a look at it.
I wonder if I can find it while you're looking that up. Let me see.
I did tweet that, and it was actually pretty interesting.
Let's see. Let's bring up Twitter. That's the beauty of this little computer system, is that we can bring in. All right, I'm in Twitter.
Yeah, it brings a fresh voice.
All right, and let me do a search on.
Yeah, if you want to look at mine.
Did you have a hashtag with it?
No. It's just by myself.
Let's see if I can just find yours.
Well, let me see.
Where are you? I should just look in my people. Go to home. Me.
Yeah, so it's actually a really cool video. If you look for me, you'll probably see it.
There we go. Come on. Hopefully my wife is not like streaming videos right now. Let's see.
It's a really cool video. You need to check it out.
So who was it? And it was the guy from USA Today. He was actually doing it, or this was a Microsoft sponsored one?
This was Microsoft. He was actually on the Microsoft bus. So he.
But I mean, was this one of those where he said, "Okay, I'm going to go meet the bus and do kind of like a story on it," or was this Microsoft putting together? Our dogs are messing with the cameras, or was Microsoft kind of doing that? I mean, they were operating the bus.
No, this was a Microsoft thing.
See if you can keep them from not banging the cameras.
Oh, move a little back. Sorry, my son.
Move on back. Yes,
son,
we have a guest in the audience.
Yeah,
today.
we have a guest in the studio here. My son Brandon.
Okay, there you are. How many? Do you know about how many tweets back this was?
It was probably my last tweet. No.
That one?
No, the next one.
This one?
That one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, let me switch
yeah,
to...
I got to give credit where credit is due. That was actually a pretty good...
demonstration?
Yeah, pretty good video.
Hello. Whoa. What happened? All
yeah,
right.
there it is.
Let's see what it does.
Yeah, and you can, I think, make it bigger.
It's buffering.
Before Larry even knew the word
commercials.
Retirement, he was planning
You gotta
for
love
it.
them commercials.
That's why when the time
Yeah.
came, he counted
Those
on
of you who are
Merrill
watching
Edge
at
to
home, we don't
streamline his
pay
investing
for
and
our...
help
We've
him
got the
plan for the road
free...
ahead.
the free service
Streamlined
for
cash.
Ustream, so you see commercials every so often with our show. That's okay. It's how we get it free. USA Today Tech
In
Talk.
June, Windows phones will get a major update with a new digital personal assistant named Cortana, who hopes to take on Siri and Google Now with greatly improved voice
His
search.
voice sounds familiar.
We got a hands-on sneak peek on a Microsoft bus that was touring this week in Los Angeles.
Next time I'm at the drugstore, remind me to pick up my prescription.
He's got a 920.
Sure. Remind you when you get to drugstore.
And
There's
it
a
works.
Walgreens on 8490
See, but-
Santa Monica Boulevard, Suite 1 in West Hollywood. Is this the one you want?
But he gave him, like,
Yep.
a choice.
Yes.
With Siri,
I
it
can
doesn't.
remind you to pick up my prescription when you get to Walgreens.
Reminder, pick up my prescription.
Here's your reminder. Shall I create it?
Not exactly the same.
No. So Cortana will know when I pass that Walgreens, I will get a little reminder that says pick up your prescription.
Yeah, I tested it.
You
I
will
actually
know when
walked
you're
into
walking down the
Walmart
street.
and it
Yeah.
reminded
It'll
me,
use your
you need to pick
GPS
this
and
up.
it'll
I'm like,
notify you
oh
when you're
my
passing
gosh.
the store.
Okay, let's come up with something else fun like that.
Okay. So people-based reminders, there's also pretty great. So I can say, next time I talk to my wife, remind me to congratulate her on the new job.
Sure. Next time you talk to Heather Westcoat, I can remind you to congratulate her on the new job. Is that right?
Yep.
Great.
If I emailed her, if she called me, there would be a little notification that reminds me.
I have a feeling this is not going to work on the iPhone. Remind me to congratulate my wife on her new job.
Here's your reminder.
Yeah.
Shall I create it?
Well, it did the reminder, but it didn't know who to remind.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
going to remind you. It doesn't know who your wife is.
Right.
Cortana knows who my wife is. Cortana knows who my parents are, who my brothers are. I can set nicknames for people, so I just say, contact my homies, for
But
example.
how will you get
That
the
reminds
reminder?
me, I need to do that with your.
Because Cortana
with
knows
you.
who that nickname matches up to in your address book.
Yeah, but when will you get it?
Either when I talk to them on the phone, I get a call from them. If I go to text message
Yeah,
them,
any communication
email
you have
them,
with that person
any
the
way
next
I try to
time, it
contact
will
them, I'll
say.
get a reminder from Cortana. Cortana understands the context of the question, so we can actually have a conversation somewhat. So I can say, recommend a good restaurant nearby.
Here are 10 restaurants that are 4 stars.
Get traffic to the second one.
Traffic is crawling. You're looking at about a minute to drive to Carney's restaurant.
She recommends a number of things, and I can filter based on number of stars or whatever. And it uses Yelp's database to pull those suggestions for me.
From the Microsoft bus. I'm Jefferson Graham, USA Today.
There you go.
It is pretty cool. And what shocked me, I thought, okay, I gotta try this out. So I had a recurring appointment that I needed to do, and so I said, okay, well, I'm gonna try it, see how bad I can mess this up. 'Cause, you know, trust but verify.
Yeah.
I said so, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically I said, remind me, set a reminder. Every Tuesday for the next 6 months from 7:30 to 9:30 at GCC or Grace Community Church. And it took a couple of seconds to think about it, and then blah, blah, blah. It says, okay, I've got an appointment at Grace Community Church every Tuesday and it told me the date it would end because I said 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It told me the date it was going to end from 7:30 to 9:30. Is this right? Yes. Okay. The reminder set. And so I looked and it's in my calendar I'm like, all right,
Wow.
that's just insane.
Yeah, and I foresee.
All of them are going to go that way.
Yeah, they're all gonna start doing something.
Yep.
Something just like that because, the Windows Phone it's new, it's cool, it's changing, and I give credit where credit is due. That's obviously blowing my Siri out of the water. But
But other things, it just caught up with it.
But at the same time, I can see they're going to have to, Apple's not going to sit on this one.
No.
They're going to have to eventually, start pulling some of the stops out and getting things done.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. So I was like,
Yeah.
when I saw it, I was like, I got to put it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was
But like I said, in order to go where they're going with it, which I'm fully behind, they really are integrating stuff. The app that I wrote for Ceti Fox Productions for the Windows Phone, as a result of this update, it now supports universal apps. And so they updated their app building website where it's basically template driven and you customize it and add these different things to it. So, I mean, the app I have is pretty cool. But I was able to go in then and then turn around and say, I want to make this a universal app. And so without doing any recoding, I simply told it to regenerate as universal. And so it didn't change anything on the phone as far as how it looked to me. It still operated the same, but I was able to upload the same app onto my Windows 8 laptop. And it adjusted it for the context of the laptop. So I have the same app with no extra work. I know they're going wild. They play hard.
Yeah.
We're amazed at Vala and Greza just going at it. I mean, it looks almost like they're going to hurt each other because they bare their teeth.
Yep.
But they have fun. I mean, they do this for hours, especially in the morning. When they get up, they're all squirrely, and then they start to wrestling, and it's all on the bed. But so with no extra work, I had the app on the desktop as well.
Oh, cool.
So I'm like, that makes it that is a great thing for developers. So I of course I was like congratulating Microsoft on moving towards the universal apps, but I said you need to now bring Xbox One into that, which is where it's going. But I thought that should be the next thing that comes out is an update to Xbox One so that we just regen the app one more time, and now it creates it for all three.
Yeah.
Because it'd be very cool to just be able to pull up the Ceti Fox Productions app anywhere, and it gives me the same content and works virtually the same way.
Wow.
But very cool. But they had, in order to do this behind-the-scenes stuff and add these other pieces in, they broke aspects of it to me.
Oh.
Because I hate the notification center. I like the live tiles because all my notifications for a particular type of application are on that tile. I want them organized that way. I don't need them in this big list, which is all it is I'll show this for folks here. Switch cameras. So for those who insisted on having a notification center, now that's what it does. You just drop it down. And it's annoying because it just throws everything in there. I'm like, I don't need to see all that stuff. I like it individually on the tiles. So I know I have 9 emails from my main account. I have 3 emails from my Two Guys Who Dive account. I have 8 text messages or whatever. I have them segmented. Now they're just dumped into this center. And then the volume control is just as bad. Before, just the simple buttons on the side, I could bring up or down the volume, or if I just tapped it, it gave me a little button on a little drop down that I could mute everything and switch it to vibrate, which is great. One-stop shop. Took care of it all.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Because people insisted, we've got to have separate controls for everything. I'm like, why? Now you have to individually turn every volume down. Otherwise, if you just use the rocker, come here once again. If you just use the volume buttons, it's context, and I haven't quite figured out the rhyme or reason for which context. Because at one time, I think I'm bringing down the volume for the music, and it's bringing down the volume for the ringers.
Yeah.
Or it's bringing down. So I have to bring down that stupid audio drop down, which comes from the same place as the notification center. So you have to do just the right combination of the things to bring it down, and then you have to use individual faders.
Wow.
And then I dare you to plug headphones in. It throws a third one on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's stupid.
It's like that with my iPhone. If I have headphones on there, like in other words, I can turn the volume down if I'm listening to, let's just say I have it on a speaker, and I'll bring down the volume. But
then you plug in the headphones, you're going deaf.
It's all the way full blast. So then I bring it down, and granted it keeps the settings, but I'm having to adjust all 3.
And that is not efficient to me. Again, it makes the system inefficient for me. I want to be able to press a button and bring all the volumes up or bring them all down or mute them with one tap. No, I have to do 3 million things to make that happen now, all because you people who are stuck in the iPhone and Android world insisted on throwing this junk on my phone. So, that's my rant for tonight. Anywho.
Okay.
But, of course, rumors are now, on the other side of the coin, rumors are flying as to what might be part of iOS 8.
Oh.
So it'd be, of course, along with that, they're saying that the new phones are going to be coming out with that. So the iPhone 6 is probably going to be larger.
Yeah.
And I see some cases floating around out there.
Oh, dude.
Being leaked. I'm like, that's going to be pretty good size. It's going to be bigger than the Lumia 1020.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
My phone's already up for an upgrade. my son Brandon,
Wait a minute, you just got the 5S.
Yeah, but the thing is, I have 3 lines.
Oh, so you're rotating them through.
Yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
rotating. So
Gotcha.
It's what I do is I'm paying $10 on one,
right?
Because I bring it down, and then when so every year I'm upgrading. But
gotcha.
It's kind of silly, but it works. It's working out pretty good for me.
Yeah.
So usually, since my phones are still pretty new,
yeah.
And I take immaculate care of them. So when my son's like, well, I'm getting a hand. You're getting a good phone. What are you talking about? So more than likely this one will probably go to Sandy, and then Sandy will give up hers to Brandon.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of waiting. I want to see what drastic it's going to be. This one wasn't much of a change from my 5 to the 5S, aside from the fingerprint reader.
Yeah.
And it is faster. I will say that. I mean, it is fast.
Better processor.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When I first got it, though, was experiencing some huge problems with the iOS 6.
I was going to say that was OS based. That wasn't the hardware.
It wasn't hardware, but it was the actual phone, because if you had the iPhone 5, the iOS 6 was working great, but it didn't work so great on the S. Well,
iOS 6 or 7?
7. No, 6. It was.
Oh, so it was before you updated to 7.
Yeah, it was before. Once I updated to 7,
it's fine.
7.1. Was it 7?
There's like 7.11 now or something like that.
Okay. Well, when I updated to the more recent one, I'm already lost.
I know.
When I updated to the more recent update, which is I think 7.1,
that addressed all the issues.
It fixed everything.
Good.
Now the phone is like good to go, knock on wood. But so I want to see something drastic. I want to see a bigger screen. I don't necessarily
Looks like
care.
you're going to get it. That's for sure. It's going to be a pretty good size.
Yeah, I don't necessarily care to see how thin it is. I've actually held the Galaxy S phones. To me, they're huge. It's like
go get you one.
Yeah, but
they're not quite the 1520.
They're super thin, and the thing with that is, a lot of the ones that I've seen, and I'll probably better knock on wood. I don't want to break my phone, but a lot of them have broken screens because I think they're too thin, and they flex, so the screen breaks.
A friend of mine who had the 521 on T-Mobile, his time came up, and so he got I think it was the Sony Xperia, and it's like really, really thin, and it was bigger screen, everything. He really liked it, except he had it in his pocket, in his back pocket, and broke the screen.
Yeah.
So and of course Sony was saying, well, yes, it's kind of a problem with these. I'm like, well, then see, there's a point at which, unless you've got one of those flex screens, which I think there is a shoe waiting to drop on those too, but unless you've got one of those devices that has the flexible screen, there's a point where I think it's too thin, unless you have a really rigid infrastructure in the build of it so that it keeps the screen from being stressed.
Right. So they're super big, but they're too thin.
Yeah.
And I really don't like those. So I don't mind if it's big, like, wider, as long as it's got the same thickness of, the current phone that I have now.
Right.
Or your phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they're a little too thin,
you're just thinking, okay, when's it gonna break on me?
Yeah, and everyone.
It's like a candy bar,
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So, but no, I'm gonna wait, and hopefully it comes out with something good. And yes, usually when Apple releases a new device, they release a new OS for it, or some kind of iOS device.
Yeah.
Operating system.
So the rumors are September for that. So
I think they're gonna unveil it probably in June.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as availability with the new phones, and that's kind of typical. Yeah. Windows is the same way. They revealed 8.1 at build, and then the preview just came out 2 weeks ago, but you're not going to start seeing that on the phones till June.
Yeah,
and then how depending on different carriers how they're going to roll them, which means AT&T will probably get it in September.
Yeah,
they're horrible about that.
Like our LTE service around here.
Yeah, that's another sore point with me. We got everybody around us has LTE.
Yep. Sprint in Del Rio has LTE.
Yeah, and yet we can't get it.
AT&T.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's just uncalled for. Okay, Wednesday was a big event in Brackettville. There's an annual event that they do there called Field of Faith, and it's mostly headed by the youth at the school there, at the high school. The adults obviously are helping participate and support and all that, but it's pretty much a show run by the youth. It's very cool. Kids praying over kids, over their town, over the country, praise and worship. It's a very cool event to see kids getting that enthusiastic to do something that's something other than going cruising or going over to Mexico or, doing something self-destructive. These are really great things that they're doing. Oh, no, not again. Where are you at? Who's whining?
No, he's over there with Brandon.
But, the contemporary Christian band I'm in, Living Water Sound, we regularly participate in that. Well, last year, just before the event was supposed to go on, there was a very tragic vehicle accident just outside of San Antonio by Loop 1604. The Kuntz family were driving home from a UIL event.
I remember that.
And a guy in 18-wheeler, drunk, got on the wrong side of Highway 90 and hit them head on. Killed everybody but the youngest child.
Mm-hmm.
And the two daughters, Marley and Madison Kuntz, were movers and shakers as far as this Field of Faith and events go. Well, this is, of course, the first year since that accident. And so there was, memorial. They had slides and everything going and people sharing stories about them. But what was cool about this event was they invited a guy named Todd Storch to come and share his foundation, the Taylor's Gift Foundation. As a matter of fact, let me bring up their website here. Screen region. There we go. The story, Taylor's story is remarkable. Matter of fact, I can bring it up here. Taylor's story. They were on vacation and they were on a ski trip in Colorado, and he said he and his son were following behind her skiing down the slopes, and she lost control and shot off into the trees. And unfortunately, and we've heard these kind of stories before, Sonny Bono died that way too. Fatal injuries. Yeah. Of course, he was right behind her, and so they pull off and they get emergency responders to get there. And took her got her to the hospital, airlifted her to the hospital, but unfortunately they weren't able to save her. But so here they are. Here's the family trying to deal with the grief of realizing they came on this whirlwind vacation and now they're going to be going home without their daughter. The doctor comes in and says, "Your daughter is a prime candidate to be an organ donor because she died so suddenly, and virtually none of her internal organs were damaged."
Yeah.
So thankfully they made a decision to sign. And so let's see, they even talk about Taylor's organs went to a number of different people in need. Her heart went to a 39-year-old mother of two in Arizona. Her pancreas and one kidney to a 49-year-old husband and father in Colorado. Her other kidney to a 33-year-old man in Colorado. Her corneas and liver changed two other lives in other parts of the country. So basically, and they're kind of one of the things that one of their sayings in here is outlive yourself. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you have, after you go, there's no need for you have no use for your organs, especially if you're a believer and he's his family, they're believers. And of course they had to go through that "I hate you, God" kind of phase. We're like, why did you take my daughter? Yeah. Without realizing God had a bigger plan in store. That not only was Taylor going to be able to save other people's lives in her death, but that this would launch a foundation that has raised awareness for organ donorship around the world, literally, and brings in money that they give to families that are dealing with. They've paid for such things as funeral expenses for those who've lost a loved one that gave their organs to somebody else. After you receive a transplant, you have to be on anti-rejection medicine for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
And so they help those folks too.
Wow.
So this thing has become huge. It's become a huge thing. And so he goes around, Todd Storch goes around and speaks. He's got a book, Taylor's Gift. And what was interesting, what kind of brought this about was one of the students at Bracketville High School read the book and started sharing it with other people. And so pretty soon, most of the student body in the high school has read the book. And so it fired them up. They're like, you know what? We need to incorporate this as part of our event. So we got to meet Todd and talk with him.
Cool.
Living Water Sound got to play there. So it was an awesome event that could have had a very, very solemn, what's the word? Not melancholy. That's not the word I'm looking for, but could have been kind of sad, and it sort of was, but it really was a full-on celebration of life and how our lives touch other people, and how we can outlive ourselves.
Right.
One statistic that Todd shared that I thought was amazing was at the time that they started this foundation, only 3% of people in Texas have ever registered as organ donors.
Yeah.
And so they're raising awareness, and that number is steadily climbing.
You know, I remember that early on, people were like, "Oh, don't sign to register. You know, to donate your organs and whatever." I think I might be mistaken. Okay, but I remember hearing a story about that somewhere they were actually killing you. Like, in other words, if you went into the hospital, there was a series of doctors that and they may actually
That's
made
a
a
movie.
movie. Yeah,
That's
they
a
made a
movie.
movie of this, but supposedly it's true to fact that there was a series of doctors, and I remember it was up north. It's always up north. But there were a series of doctors that if you were a registered organ donor, what they did is they saw that you were going to have possibly complications from possibly surviving. They would just go ahead and
Wasn't in the movie Coma?
sort of, but they would just pull the plug on you and try not to really do what they could to really help you, because they had somebody already in line for your organs. Yeah, so I remember that early on, and I know a lot of people were like, no, I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important, especially now. There's such a limited supply.
Yeah.
And with
Especially if you're in a tragic accident like that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you're in that kind of an accident, there isn't really much that they can do to help you, but your organs are viable.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of tough if you're in like a car accident where usually you're totally destroyed.
Yeah, you're mangled. Yeah.
And also, if you've got some sort of a fatal illness, a lot of times your organs are not viable because of the illness you're carrying. Mm-hmm. So, your organs really are not viable. So, it's even if you register as a donor, the conditions under which you die are kind of limit whether or not your organs are viable for somebody else. So it's really tough. It's really tough for hospitals to get away with trying to induce a situation.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but that would be the exception that proves the rule. I look at it this way. As a believer, I know where I'm going. If I'm finally gone, it's like Paul said, to die is gain, to live is Christ. So I win. It's a win-win either way. So I don't need my body while I'm here. Take what you need. If there's anything that I got that can help somebody else, have at it. The rest of me is going to be cremated anyway. That's my thing. Just cremate me. So it's because it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper.
It's cheaper, yeah.
Yep.
But well, and I'm glad that there is awareness out there.
Yeah.
About the things like this, because you're right. I mean, there are people out there that really need these organs and
various conditions that cause one of the big things I always hear about is various kidney diseases, and
right.
They're on dialysis for most of their life, and all they would need is just a kidney.
Right.
And there've been people, they had a neat one of the video he showed that Todd showed showed a kid from the neighborhood. He's a teenager, that both of his kidneys were failing. He basically failed. He was on dialysis all the time, and a woman in the neighborhood knew his mother, and had a friend who knew his mother, and this friend was saying, "Hey, I need to get people together to pray about how we can help the mother deal with the pending death of her son, because there was just nothing they could do because there were just so few kidney donors."
Yeah.
Well, as it turns out, she said, well, this had to be a God thing, but I went and got tested, and it turns out she was a compatible match for this boy. And she knew him okay, in the neighborhood, but was not like close friends with him or anything. But she just said, I just had this feeling, and sure enough, so she ended up donating one of her kidneys.
Wow.
So now, obviously, that means her life is changed somewhat, because there are certain things you can't push yourself through
right anymore
when you're running on one kidney. But she saved the life of another person. So that's the other thing, is you can be an organ donor and not die to do it. There are certain things that you can donate. Several years ago, I registered as a bone marrow donor.
Wow.
So they've got all my information, and I get periodic emails from them, and so they've got what they need as far as way to contact me. So if somebody ever comes around who needs a bone marrow transplant, and they tell you it's kind of a painful process to go through, but obviously you recover from it, but it literally is life to somebody who's maybe gone through, they had leukemia and they had to totally kill off their entire bone marrow
right
to kill the cancer. And bone marrow, of course, is where your red blood cells are created. So this is life for somebody. So, I think nothing of it if I were to ever get that call saying, hey, you are a match for this person in Val Verde County who needs a bone marrow transplant. Are you willing to do it? Because you could still say no, even though you're registering just says you've given information and you've said, I'm available to be contacted.
Right.
And you ultimately at that last minute you can say no, but I wouldn't think to say no, because it would be very, very cool to know that something I have is able to help somebody else, and and I don't have to die to do it.
Exactly.
So it's very cool. All right, let's see. Oh, I want to show just a little video. Speaking of our band, this is from Street Beat, which happened just a couple of weeks ago, and here we go. This is at the Dr. Alfredo Gutierrez Jr. Amphitheater. This is our band, Living Water Sound. Rich Morneau is the lead singer, and he writes the songs. Tommy Sondag is our lead guitarist over there on the left. And then George McKnight works out the bass. He's our bass guitarist. He just had toe surgery, so he's not standing. And that's me on the drums.
Oh, you're playing the drums?
Yes.
What happened to your drummer?
Long story short, our regular drummer took a job in Florida, so he left. Then we got another drummer who just started with us. We haven't actually gigged with him yet. and then he developed some health problems, and so he had to go to San Antonio to take some tests.
Oh wow!
And so he's not been available. So for the past couple of gigs, I've had to
get on the skins.
I've had to get on the skins. I'm like, well, and I love playing the drums. That's what I started on. But it was fun, you know. And since I knew all the songs, I knew, you know, I played differently than Mark, our original drummer, plays. But I know all the stops. I know, and I have my own flourishes that I put on it. I think we got to zoom in on Tommy doing some lead work here in a second. Tommy's so cool watching him play. He's very good guitarist. He's actually the pastor at Del Rio Christian Fellowship.
Really?
Yes. There we go.
What you're calling there, Rob?
Huh?
I think you should just stick with the skins, man.
Oh, I enjoy both, but you know, I can sing more
When
I'm playing the keyboards. And unfortunately, the sound wasn't too good until the very last song. You can't hear all the vocals I am doing. So anyway, that's Living Water Sound with me stepping in on the skins. I'll be glad when our drummer gets back into the swing of things. And I actually had a keyboard off to the side because there was a couple of songs that we were doing that I start off on the keyboards because you really don't have to have, even though the original arrangements have drums in them, don't have to have the drums in. And he really wanted the keyboard intro. And especially for one of the songs that we did in Bracketville, have... Somebody's sending me a text.
Elizabeth Peterson. Want to read it or ignore it?
Read it.
It says, I have a question. Reply, call back, or are you done?
Reply.
All right. What do you want to say?
I'm in the middle of a podcast. I'll talk to you later.
All right. I'll text Elizabeth Peterson. I'm in the middle of a podcast. I'll talk to you later. Send it, add more, or try again.
Send.
Okay, sent.
Thank you, Cortana.
There you go. That's Cortana.
That's the way to work it.
Yeah.
So anyway, she should know better. I've told her before I do this show at this time. So anyway, she's probably thinking, oh, well, he's got to be done by
It's
now.
by now, yeah.
Which normally we are. So anyway, so we're up to our 100th episode, and I just wanted to throw a few clips up to show you how far we come. So we had our original episode was totally by accident.
Yeah.
Because
right.
basically, and I think we even talk about it in the video here. Let me switch to screen region.
All right.
Oh, no.
From Elizabeth Peterson. Want to read it or ignore it?
Ignore. know there's audio with this. Skip
Oh,
forward.
it'll be perfect.
And
There we
I
go.
did see that you checked in on Facebook with that, and I
look
was
at that.
tempted
It
to
looks
send
so
you,
different.
A request to bring some back with you.
You know, I would have. I definitely would have.
Different, the very,
think,
very
I
weak
think Tara
intro,
and I are
and it's
Yeah.
very
the
simple.
Podcast, we're probably going to go check out.
Look at the
new
microphones.
Fudd
We just
Ruckers that
had
opened
this
up.
one, so you were
Probably
still
be
using
a
the
little
PV
bit better,
mic
service at this point. A little
and
bit
the
less
boom
traffic.
mic,
I've gone twice.
and
I
we're
went
all
once with
still had like
Sandra
clip on.
And went with Dominic.
Clip on. As a matter of fact,
Oh,
Not
let's
too
make
long
it
ago, when we went to go see Underworld,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
there was like hardly anybody I, there.
Oh,
so,
Really?
you know,
Yeah.
and it's
So
funny.
was the
I
service decent?
I wonder if
then?
I think my voice has changed too.
You know,
I've come to realize that the service. It
Anytime
depends.
there's a pause like that, I know there's a story.
The Wow.
We get to 12. I put a point to mark at 12:25.
Yeah, that's vintage.
There we go.
All right.
This was, matter of fact, this episode we were
Yeah.
talking about
Now we were getting our
Oh.
our
ready to
our
jump in
adventure
and
over at the
Scuba Bob and
springs.
all his,
That was
7
cold.
millimeter
Yes.
near
The water was
field
great. It was
there.
getting out.
Yeah, that. You know, the funniest thing was, going back to when we were getting dressed and getting in the water. You see all the city employees there.
Oh yeah.
They all pulled out cameras.
That's right. They
Every
did.
single one of the guys
That
had
was
a
awesome.
camera.
It was pretty wild. I'm like, okay, this better show up in the newspaper or something. I know.
There's did it ever?
No,
Of course not.
No, of course not. We,
To see if anything showed up.
Let's see.
Um,
Episode 16.
I don't get the paper, but
We go to episode 16. So I have some of the older episodes on my Scuba Dog channel, and then we started doing the full-blown Ceti Fox Productions one. Let me go to episode 16.
yeah, that was funny though, because when we were getting into the water, everybody pulled out cameras to like, these guys are crazy.
But it was so cool.
Yeah,
It was so cool. I mean, who gets an opportunity like that? Let's
Exactly.
See, I wanted to go to 28:45.
I still remember when I gave you the
Here's
call.
the old man, and doesn't he look old? Oh, poor Zeus. He passed away.
Leave me alone.
I can't handle it. What, you kids with your newfangled devices? I'm ancient. Troy was guessing.
I'm Zeus.
on
I'm old. Put me down. I'm looking for food.
I'm Zeus.
that. I'm looking for food. So we still had the
I'll
old
bark for
logo.
food.
I'll bark for
He was
food.
barking at me when I walked in.
No kidding. What's so funny is,
So
I
we're
walk out
still
the door and
using, like, the
immediately
harsh
starts barking.
lights.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, come back here. You didn't get permission.
So funny.
We have an
all
alarm
the
system.
shadow,
We don't need
it
one
just really
because
looks
they're
bad.
better than a doorbell. So we had
Dive meeting.
dive meeting. We're basically talking about
That's
the fact
that's both
that
me and Troy without goatees.
surprisingly,
Yeah,
Balmoral
that's
State
right.
Park is
That's
back
right.
open,
Oh, good.
back in business. For those who've been following,
Let's see. Let's look at episode 50, shall we? Halfway there.
this newer version pushed my CPUs, all 4 of them, to 100%, and we're pretty close to that now. As soon as we started things broadcasting and also recording, so I'll have to send the programmers back the stats on what was going on, because that's pretty tragic. If I have to drop back to the previous version, I will.
So if you see us moving like robots, we're not dancing. It's a technical glitch on the software part. So yeah, just
That was wild.
That's right.
please bear with us.
And sure enough, that's exactly how bad it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were still. That was before I got the new machine that had much faster processor and memory to it. Made a big difference.
Surely taxing that machine to the limit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely was. Poor thing. Okay, episode 68. Let's see.
That was kind of disappointing.
See, now we had better lighting.
As it turns out, we may have
Cameras were
had some
better.
additional competition, because didn't they have the annual chili cook-off today too?
Yes, they had a cook-off. I believe the Ram Country one was
Yeah,
going on.
which got rained out
Yeah.
of the field next to Walmart, but
Did they move it somewhere else?
Yeah, that's at the fairgrounds.
Okay, because it was a mud hole.
Oh
over
yeah,
there.
it was bad. They had some of the tents up over there, but you
It
see
looks
like
so much
marshland,
We're using
which
the
is
new
something we're not
logo.
used to seeing lately because we had so little
Can
rain.
you imagine all the mosquitoes down there? Oh,
Oh yeah. Well, and that kind of made a mess for our.
Then we had. Let me switch accounts here. Good grief, dogs can't get comfortable.
those are pretty cool.
Let's see. Where are you? Go to channel. Then we had our first ever international.
But I gotta say,
We did some shopping. Oh, we were heathens one day, and we went to where?
We went to hell.
We went to hell.
Yes,
but
we
we
did.
came back. We didn't like it.
That's right. We've been to hell and back.
Yes.
Yeah, there is actually a little town at the east end, northeast end of the island called Hell.
Yes.
It's
And,
a
you
rock
remember what
formation.
the
Cool
story?
to be able to do the podcast from Grand Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
One of the governor was like,
Yeah, the governor was there hunting.
Yeah.
They were like hunting birds or something. He had a shotgun, and he kept missing. And he kept saying, "Oh hell, oh hell." So the natives that were there named it "Oh hell." It's a giant rock formation.
That's Trish and
that's
Gay. They've
acid
they've,
rain. Well, not acid rain, but acid that hundreds of thousands.
Gay
of
was
years
one of
ago.
my
really
students,
And the ocean
and,
has eroded it into a funny
they've
shape.
been doing a
So
lot
it's
of
like
the
this garden.
Balmaray
Right, it's like a
trips and
garden
stuff.
of
Of spiky rocks.
rocks. Yeah.
It's
on a future
crazy.
podcast, we'll probably throw some pictures,
Yeah.
some more pictures in there.
Which
We're
in fact we
kind
did.
of keeping a limited
And let's see.
podcast this time because I'm doing this all on a laptop.
81. Where are you?
The good old days.
The good old days. Those were the days. Who sang that?
Those were the Queen.
No.
Those were the days.
It's a sitcom.
What, Archie Bunker?
Yes. Yes. Let's see. What? Go to 2351. It's hard to do this really well. Come on. Let's try that. See a little. Definitely like to see you there. So, and now.
Oh, yeah.
Another CFP and news alerts.
We have certainly come a long way.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have another news alert for you. The partial federal shutdown kills diving
And wasn't
at
that
national
a pain in
parks.
the butt?
It does.
And it truly has. Last weekend, yours truly was supposed to be teaching a scuba class. And unfortunately, had to cancel. And this person was coming from Marathon, Texas,
Ooh.
which is a bit of a drive.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit of a drive.
We've been there.
So, no kidding.
We've been
And
there.
unfortunately, with the partial government shutdown, the National Park Service is not funded, which means and that turned out to be totally bogus. They didn't need to do that. It's just like closing down the Vietnam Memorial.
Yeah.
They totally did not need to close it down. You know, it's like having a pool where you put the sign up that says, "There's no lifeguards on duty. Swim at your own risk."
And they're out there.
I'm like, really? Come on. Why do you have to? Why do you have to be a pain in the rear end? C91. 3610.
You're up.
3610. Let's try that. Yeah, that was our scuba gear. And a matter of fact, a lot of it is the same kind of gear. That was our movie episode that I used for
Yeah.
students. So I was like, okay, good choices.
You know,
But she had something
I still had my
posted on
bronchitis.
her.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I had a
That's
really
right. That
bad
was hilarious.
cough.
I thought,
so I was kind of
this is for-
skeptical about
this
eating
is
the
definitely
popcorn
for
because it
the
would have given
dive
me
diva.
the cough
Yes.
attack. And I actually
You
had one.
did. I said,
Yeah.
I'm putting this
I
up
had
on
a
our-
bad cough attack.
on our netcast this weekend. That was fun. Yeah, there you go. But is that not
was
hilarious?
fantastic.
Yeah, those were cool.
Oh my gosh.
That is awesome. High heel flippers.
Wow, don't get behind that. You might get stabbed with those
I'm
things.
telling you. That's hilarious. The things people come up with. Somebody did well.
I wouldn't doubt somebody actually if the
I'm not sure how you would walk in those. No, you truly wouldn't walk in those.
those would definitely have to be put on while you're in the water.
In the water, absolutely. Okay, so those are just some highlights of the of our past 100 episodes, and looking forward to many more. Real quick, as we wrap things up here, Amistad Lake, the Park Service is doing a promotional. I don't know if you got this in the mail. I got this little flyer in the mail, which is pretty cool. Let me switch cameras. Don't Move a Mussel. And it's talking about the zebra and the quagga, or however you pronounce it. Quagga, mussel. And I was, of course it goes into talking about how you need to do things like if you're bringing your boat from some other lake, that you need to take it in someplace and totally clean it. Scrub that thing down, because these mussels are an invasive species. They filter a gallon of water. One of these little mussels, and we've seen these things. They filter a gallon a day.
Wow.
It's just amazing. And what they end up doing is they end up covering everything. Matter of fact, they have a picture here of these zebra mussels on, I guess, a crawfish. Let me just throw this picture up. Those are the mussels, these little clam-like things, covering this crawfish. I mean, that's just amazing.
That is weird.
And they literally clog up waterways. They clog up water systems. So, for instance, you would see some of those if we were pulling water from the reservoir to, filtered, of course, into our water supply. Those things can permeate so quickly that it clogs them up, up those pipes. And so the big thing is they're warning people to do a really good job of cleaning your boats and other watercraft, anything that you've brought from other lakes, because the permeate. Let's see, is there a picture? Yeah. Let me show this again. Show this. Where you see in red is where they're at. Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, except over around Florida.
Yeah. They're the high risk areas. So the thing is they're trying to, now where you see the yellow dots, hard to see in this picture. The yellow dots is where they've actually seen the zebra mussels. And then the black dots are where they've seen the quagga. So evidently, they're like all over the it's all over the Great Lakes area. But fortunately, they haven't seen any here yet, it looks like, but they're warning it. They're basically trying to get a program going where there's awareness of it. So if you are coming to the Del Rio area and you're bringing, because we get a lot of winter Texans.
We do.
And, of course, they like to bring their boats. And what else do we have here? We have the Border Patrol. The Air Force Base, Federal Marshals. And so a lot of times they'll buy boats or bring boats in for their time that they're here.
Right.
And unfortunately what that means is they could have been in one of these places where these mussels are. So please, please, please really thoroughly clean your watercraft before, and your trailers too, because you could clean your boat but not the trailer, and then as soon as you launch your boat.
Is there do they have like a lifespan? I mean, can they be alive out of the water for a while? I mean, what's
I didn't look that up, but they have a very thorough bit on Wikipedia. So if you just look up zebra mussel, and it even says that they're like a sister species to the quagga. So
regardless of it, if the Park Service is bringing it to our attention, they're concerned about the potential outbreak of this happening here at our lake. So please, if you know of anybody, clean your boats, especially if you go elsewhere.
Now, the sad part about those because I was reading in the Wikipedia, is because they filter pollutants, they improve the visibility. of lakes. Evidently, one of the Great Lakes they mentioned, not long after they were introduced, it brought the visibility of the lake from inches to feet.
Wow. Well, do we want it?
I know. I'm like, oh,
Well, you know.
But there's always a cost.
Exactly.
There's always pay me now or pay me later. There's always some sort of unintended consequences.
I'd rather have poor visibility and have a nice lake than have it all clogged up. So, yeah,
because people like us, we'll just dive just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we need to get back in the water.
We
man.
most certainly
really
do.
So I need to get out there just to see what the temps are like now, so I know which suit to put on,
Well,
7 or if I can go to the 5.
The last time I was there, and it was because my brother-in-law was having a barbecue out there.
Yeah.
This crazy dude shows up. He's on a jet ski. Well, it was like, how many of them? There was like 2 jet skis and like 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this one dude, I mean, the water was, I think, 56 degrees.
Oof.
It was cold out and it was windy that day. So what does he do? He takes his shirt off. He's in shorts and he jumps in the water.
What?
And as soon as he gets down, he gets out and he runs out. He was like,
that wasn't you, was it?
No. No. He runs out and he's booking it up the
where's my towel?
The ramp, because they had just lowered some jet skis. So I don't know. He thought he was cool. There was some girls there. Took his shirt off to flex his muscles.
Yeah.
He jumps in the water. He jumps out. Whoa, that was cool.
No kidding.
So he's hauling back to the truck where he came in so he can get his towel or something. But
that's funny.
I told the guy, he was like, I wonder what the water temperature is. I'm like, dude, it's 56 degrees.
Yeah.
You can't swim in this right now.
Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids.
Especially not naked.
Well, let's see. Real quick reminder, we'll kind of keep plugging this one. Mike McCarson out at the Broke Mill RV Park has his Cascade tank fill system up and running. So if you're in the area and need tank fills, go see him first. If he's not available for some reason, you can contact me. I'll fill your tanks if you've got it up on its visual inspection. Which reminds me, we need to set up a date to go make a field trip. Road trip up to Killeen.
Yeah, we got to stop off in Junction.
Yeah, in Junction.
We're
Junction,
here. Dairy Queen.
We're here.
We're here.
No, actually,
we're there.
But there's somebody in the bathroom.
Mom.
You weren't going to the bathroom. Just go. No, Mom, but there's nobody in there.
Oh, Rob
I beg to differ.
Robert was... Anyway, he was in the bathroom when a mom decides to go into the bathroom and scold her son.
Chasing her son in there. I'm like, excuse me. I come out shaking my head. Disbelief.
I look at Robert. He's got this look upon his face. I'm like,
awesome.
What's going on? What's wrong? You won't believe what just happened. I go, well, I heard the mom yelling, but I didn't see it. She went into the bathroom. She was yelling at her son, and I'm sitting there on the, in the little stall, just like, oh my God,
quiet. And then you told me that she was a manager.
Yeah, she was a manager.
Like
of the
that's
store.
about as redneck as it gets.
She was, and he was like, "Who was?" I said, "It was a lady who took our order. She's the manager." I could not stop laughing, guys.
That's great.
You wouldn't believe. And then,
those are the stories, that you tell your kids.
And then on the way back, Robert, I don't know what, he was looking at something, wasn't paying attention to the curb and smacked his car.
I wasn't smacked. I was barely moving, but it was just enough that we kind of went, we're here.
We're there.
All right, let's hit some administrivia before we head out of here. All right, next Del Rio Dive Club meeting, 15 May, 7 p.m. at Rudy's Restaurant. And, of course, we did have a person signed up for the April or was trying to sign up for the April class, but she ended up not being able to get her deposit in on time so I could get her study materials to her. So, unfortunately, you snooze, you lose. So the next class we have up is May 22nd through the 25th, followed by June 26th through the 29th, then in July 24th through the 27th, and then August 28th through the 30th. That one is now tentative because it looks like our scuba diving trip this year may take us into August.
Mm.
So we haven't firmed up dates yet, but we have a big inspection going on out at the base. So probably June, July is not going to be a good time for us to go. So that means, even though last time we went in July, so it looks like we'll have to push it to August.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't happen, it'll be 28th to the 31st.
That'll work.
And then finally, September 25th through the 29th. So here's the thing. If you are interested in being in those classes, and I do have a voicemail message I need to call the guy back tomorrow on, that he said he's interested in the class. We'll see. After, money talks.
Always.
Yes. But you need to sign up the first week of the month of the class at the latest so I can get your deposit and order the materials. Because I do things efficiently, which means I don't have a big stock of things here because I frankly don't have a place to store it. And so you give me the deposit, I order your stuff in time for you to have plenty of time to study.
I think it's almost time when we get this little man in the water.
Yes. Because how old are you now, Brandon?
11. I'm
Gonna be 12, yes.
June 25th.
It is about that time.
Yep.
First, we'll pick you up and throw you in. No, I'm just kidding. He shakes his head. You can swim, right?
He's a little bit. We're working on that. That's what's holding him back.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, here's the thing. You can always already start him out at the lake. If
Yeah.
you can get out to we'll have to see what the distances are now, but probably should still work at the buoy and back. If you can dog paddle, man, that's what Tara did. She dog paddled the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. I mean, she's fine. It's no time. It's like, hurry up, man. You got to get it. No. Just take your time, relax, don't overstress, and you just make your way back. It's all about making sure that you can get to where you need to if you had to dump your gear.
Yeah.
It's all. It's
I got to get him in a suit so since it kind of helps him stay a little buoyant, so he can kind of start getting
used to the motions.
Because
he can't use that while
I know.
he's in there. Yeah.
So,
Right.
but at least it'll start working his confidence in
there you go. That's
getting
it.
into the water.
Yeah. First thing is to not be fearful. Don't be afraid of it. Next episode, I'm going to share. We just don't have enough time to do it. A dive accident story that when I read, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" That after just getting trained, they did this. So all the stuff you learn should be fresh in your mind, and these people did this stupid thing. You'll have to check in next week to see it, to hear about it. It was amazing. I'm like, what? Anyway, bad choices. So anyway, and again, as I said, you can get your air fills at the Broke Mill RV Park out at Highway 90 West. Just give a call to 830-719-2935. And we'd love to hear from you. Keep up with us on our website. Just look for DelRioDiveClub.com or look us up on Facebook, Del Rio Dive Club. Send us messages or email to TGWD. It stands for Two Guys Who Dive, if you didn't know that. And, of course, if you'd like to converse with Scuba Bob,
yeah,
you can. I didn't put your little thing up here. I need to put that up here. Shame on me. Dun, dun. There it is.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, RS Garza 435. Follow him on the Twitter. He'd love for you to follow him. He might follow you back.
Yes, definitely.
But he won't follow you home because he's not creepy like that.
No.
And or send him an email, rsgarza821@yahoo.com. You ever going to change your email to something,
Yeah, I need to. I'm actually
not
getting
Yahoo.
I'm getting tired of the Yahoo.
Yeah, especially since we don't know exactly what's going to happen with those folks.
Yeah, so I got to change that.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely. I do read my own email.
He does. He does not hire somebody else to do it.
No, ever since sequestration, I've not been able to hire my assistant back. So please just
sequester. Video killed the radio star, and sequester killed his mail reader.
Yeah, so I'm just popular that way.
That's right. And of course, if you want to follow me on the Twitter. You can just check out Robert CFP, Charlie Foxtrot Papa, or send me an email, robert.wade@cetifox.net, and I also do not have a person to read my email for me. In fact, now that I have Cortana,
you don't need
I don't need it. So we always love to hear from you. If you have any comments, questions about the show, we'd rather hear from you live on the show via our chat page, but there was nobody out there today, unfortunately. But you can always comment after the fact because we upload this to YouTube right after the show. And so please subscribe to our channel, and that way you'll get updates anytime we send something out to our YouTube channel. And please check us out each week on Ustream to catch the show live and in person with a slight digital delay because of the way they do their little commercials. So, but because we're cheapskates like that, we don't have sponsors, so I'm taking the easy way out. And
however, we would take donations.
We'll take donations if you want to help fund our Ustream costs. Then you get rid of those nasty commercials.
Yeah, we'll even we might throw a plug in there depending
there
on
we go.
how much your donation was.
That's right. We'll do a full commercial for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
We'd love to because Rob's the
We'll
boy.
do it right off the bat. We'll put it right up the front and say, 2 Guys Who Dive brought to you by Spatula City. I like their spatula so much, I bought the company.
Because Robert is the master of voices here.
That's right. I'll do it in any kind of voice you want.
Yeah. He specializes though in the Irish or what?
The British, the Scottish, and the Irish.
The Scottish.
But I'm not totally adverse to doing the Russian. If you like the Russian, especially if things keep getting exciting over in the Ukraine. It's very very exciting over there.
The Ukraine.
That's right. Victor.
And what you got to do. Heat!
Oh, move your head now! Look at that gargantuan cranium. It looks like it's got its own solar system. It looks like Sputnik. It's spherical and quite pointy in parts.
There you go. So
move your head. Head, move now! Oh, now I've done it. I've gone and made him cry. He's going to go and cry himself to sleep on his huge pillow. Nice.
There you go.
I love it. Well, listen, we have a lot of fun here. Hopefully you do too. But we're running late. Got the kiddo that's ready to head home, get some sleep, because big day tomorrow. So if you don't go to church, tomorrow would be a good day to start. You never know. It might change your life.
Mm-hmm.
Be open to the possibility.
Yeah.
But either way, have a great day and have a great week. And we will see you next time. Another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive. See ya.